It is July 7th, 2022. We are in chapter 38, verse 12 through chapter 38, verse 9. I want to say this is not appropriate for kids. Not appropriate for kids. I write it in the title, I write it in the description, I write it on Facebook. Not appropriate for children. Okay, that said, let's dive in. Starting in verse 12. Some years later, Judah's wife died. After the time of mourning was over, Judah and his friend Jair, the Adullamite, went up to Timeh to supervise the shearing of his sheep. Someone told Tamar, "Look, your father-in-law is going to Tamai to shear his sheep." Tamar was aware that Shelah had grown up, but no arrangements had been made for her to come and marry him. So she changed out of her widow's clothing, covered herself with a veil to disguise herself. Then she sat beside the road at the entrance of the village of Emma, which is on the road of Timeh. Judah noticed her and thought she was a prostitute, since she had covered her face. So he stopped and propositioned her. "Let me have sex with you," he said, not realizing she was his own daughter-in-law. "How much will you pay to have sex with me?" Tamar asked. "I'll send you a young goat from my flock," Judah promised. "But what will you give me to guarantee that you will send the goat?" she asked. "What kind of guarantee do you want?" he replied. She answered, "Leave me your identification seal and its cord and the walking stick you are carrying." So Judah gave them to her. Then he had intercourse with her, and she became pregnant. Afterwards she went back home and took off her veil and put on her widow's clothing as usual. Okay, I tell you, sometimes the Bible gets a little hinky. Like, let's be real. When funny thing is, so many people think the Bible is not hinky sometimes, and it is. We see that here. Tamar was promised something. She was promised that she would be marrying Judah's son. Well, that didn't happen. So Tamar dresses up as a prostitute and sleeps with Judah, her father-in-law, and becomes pregnant. And on top of that, she tells him to give him these things, to give her these things as a guarantee that she will get a young goat. Now, that may seem a little complicated and a little confusing because none of this makes any sense. But it does. Remember, livestock was as good, if not better, than money. So the fact that the fact that Tamar was going to get paid a goat meant she was going to have food, or she was going to have the beginning of her own livestock. And when she asked Judah for a guarantee, she asked him for his identification mark, which pretty much is like his license, his seal, the thing that makes people know that it's from him. And so this may seem a little weird, but it's in here for a reason. Sometimes we hide who we truly are to get something that we believe we need. Tamar needs a son to take care of her. And we see that she's going to a great length to do this. She's going to a length that is a lot hinky, to be honest. But don't we always? Don't we go to these limits sometimes to get the things that we want because we feel either A, God's not delivering it, or B, that we need it now. Not in His timing, but in ours. So I ask today, do you have that moment And how do you turn to God and say, I have this moment, please help me in this moment to understand what you want from me. I hope today you see Jesus in all you do, and I hope today you see God's promise all around you, and I hope you have a great day. Bye.